Alright everyone, so today we're going to be changing the ignition cassette, the direct ignition cassette on a 2002 Saab Turbo. It's a Saab 9.3 SC Turbo, and I changed the spark plugs on this vehicle because I was getting a misfire code actually on all the cylinders, and I did change the spark plugs. However, the misfire got better, but it didn't completely go away on cold mornings. Especially after it had rained, it was the worst, and then once the engine heated up, it went away. So I'm pretty sure that this ignition coil is having issues. Now the ignition coil in this car is this large thing right here. It's not an individual set of coil packs like most modern vehicles. A few vehicles from the late 90s and early 2000s had these big consolidated coil packs where all the coils are all in one unit. VW VR6 is an engine that has a big consolidated coil pack. So this is the ignition cassette. I'm going to go ahead and take this out. This is a really easy fix. The hardest and most painful thing is the $200 or more dollars you'll have to spend on a new direct ignition cassette. Alright, so without further ado, let's get this coil changed. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to take my 13mm wrench here. I'm going to disconnect the battery, and I'm disconnect the negative, the ground, because that will de-electrify the chassis and the wiring harness. We are disconnecting a electrical connector, so I don't want spark to happen, damage the ECU, anything crazy like that. Don't want that kind of trouble. So now the vehicle is powered down as far as the wiring harness, and we can go ahead and take out this ignition coil. Alright, this is a T30 Torx bit, and these are in here just hand tight. Break these four loose and then run them out. Burn yourself. This is pretty toasty right now, and well, it's not that hot. Hopefully I won't, fry my fingertips off doing this. There's a lot of background noise, I apologize, but it is a fine windy day. Alright, so now you can just grab the both ends and kind of just pop it up off the spark plugs. I tip this end up and then move it out, and that exposes the electrical connector right here. Alright, so to get this electrical connector off, we basically have to lift up these little stops right here. You can see it right there. You gotta lift that back. Now be careful, because more likely these things are pretty baked from heat, engine bay heat, and you don't want to break them off. So that one's pretty good. It's actually, I'll be lucky if these don't crack on me. They all don't crack. Oh, that one just cracked. Not the end of the world, but they are supposed to lock. So then I take the screwdriver and I usually pry right there until I can get a good hold on it to get underneath it right here. You can see that. Just gently pry up. Don't force it. Be careful. And again, if this is hot, wear gloves. Just alright, and then pull the connector off, and that's the connector right there. Alright. And that is it as far as removing the ignition coil. Now if we look at this thing, oh, look at that. Got a crack right there. Now that's probably letting moisture in, and that's why we're getting misfires until the engine heats up. And put the cassette back down, watch the plug, put it underneath the intercooler pressure pipe. I'm going to angle this over the plugs as best we can, and then let it drop over the plug contacts. Press it down. Alright, so now take our screws, drop them in, get them started by hand. Take our T30 bit, go ahead and tighten these down. I'm just going to run them down so they just start getting snug and then stop. I'm going to go in a crisscross pattern here. All I'm going to do is snug these. Just hand tight. You don't have to torque these. They're just holding a ignition coil system down after all. Check the final tightness. Alright, and that's it. Hope this helps everybody, and as always, stay rolling greasy.
They see me rolling greasy.